We're meeting here tonight only 2 months after the tragic, deadly mass shooting here in Las Vegas. And of course, we're all still thinking and praying with the victims and their families. But that attack was committed by a lone gunman, was not connected to any form of Islamic terrorism. But it did come in the wake of other mass shootings in San Bernardino, in Orlando, that seem to have been inspired, at least in part, by the so-called Islamic State. We have this incident in New York City today. The premise of the wars that we've been fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq was to stop terrorism before it came here to the United States. Have we succeeded in that?
I think you answered your own question, Susan. The answer is absolutely not. Despite Afghanistan becoming America's new longest war and a 8 or 9 year U.S. commitment in Iraq and a U.S. commitment again in Iraq and now in Syria, the problem of terrorism remains front and center for most Americans. And I think the problem, by focusing on the old notion that we've got to kill them over there before they come over and kill us here, is that first of all, it mischaracterizes the connection between terrorist groups in the Middle East and what happens here. And second, it diverts resources from actually dealing with the vulnerabilities that we have in the United States. So I would think that it's very clear that our wars post 9/11 to protect ourselves from terrorism have ultimately not succeeded. And the most important thing will be what we do to defend ourselves here at home.
General.
Yeah, there is a very strong linkage between our forces overseas and our security forces in the United States. And yes, there have been terrorist attacks in the United States. But I will simply tell you that the numbers of attacks that are prevented from occurring in the United States because of activity overseas by our intelligence services and our military, or intelligence that is collected from objectives overseas, from operations that we run that is passed to law enforcement back here in the United States that ends up in arrests and prevention of terrorist attacks. That linkage, that inextricable linkage between our forward deployed forces and our domestic security and law enforcement entities is absolutely essential to American security and homeland security.